The headlines of today's newspapers say it all, really. They're very excited about this. A cancer revolution. The great cancer hope is the headline in the Mirror. Front of the Times today, the new cancer drug offers hope of a lasting cure. They're talking about a new cancer therapy that trains the immune system to attack the disease. Apparently, it has shown extraordinary results in early trials involving terminally ill patients. Lead scientist is Professor Stanley Riddell. He is from the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center in the United States.
What we're doing is we're taking T cells, immune cells from a patient, and we're genetically modifying them so that they express a receptor that would target a molecule on their cancer cells. So essentially what this process does is it genetically reprograms the T cell to seek out and recognize and destroy the patient's tumor cells.
Well, in clinical trials, 94% of patients were left disease-free after previously being told they had just months to live. Professor Riddell says the early results have been remarkable.
All of these patients had failed all conventional therapies. Many of them had failed bone marrow transplants before. They were really, at the end of the line in terms of treatment options. And yet a single dose of this therapy put more than 90% of these patients into a complete remission where we can't detect any leukemia cells by very sensitive techniques.
Well, Elaine is from Malmesbury. She's written a blog about her treatment after she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and she's on the line now. Elaine, good morning.
Good morning, John.
Well, what do you make of that? What you've just heard? I mean, it just sounds absolutely incredible that people who were terminally ill responded to this treatment.
It's fantastic at one level, but on another level, I'm extremely sceptical because there is a cure for cancer. It's been out there for years and years. It's all natural. But unfortunately, we're all gagged by the 1939 Cancer Act that prevents us from shouting widely about the natural remedies out there. There's a
why are we gagged by the Cancer Act, Elaine?
We're not allowed to tell. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but generally speaking, we're not allowed to say that there is a cure for cancer. Nobody's allowed to write that there's a cure for cancer. There are actually more people who earn a living from cancer than die from it, which not many people know that fact.
So what is the cure for cancer then?
There's a number of remedies. There's lots of people who have tried. There's so many different things, and I've covered some of them in my blog. A big one is cannabis. Cannabis oil is extremely effective. There's oxygen therapy. There's a supplement called laminine. There's beta-glucans. All these things are natural. There's breathing techniques. There's a number of herbs and Essiac tea. There's all kinds of things available. And I get calls, 3 or 4 calls a week now, where I'm guiding people on what I did. I was given a year to live last July. This is my 3rd cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. Previously I had 2 breast cancers. And the blog that I've written seems to have inspired people. It's called Elaine Godley Chemo Blog, and it gives some links to some of the remedies that I've used.
So you're saying then that you have used natural remedies as opposed to chemotherapy to beat cancer?
Yes,
yeah.
As I said, I was given a year to live last July. By the end of October, I was clear. And as I say, that was a variety of different remedies, and we can only do, and I can only tell people what I experienced. But there's lots of different remedies. I didn't try all the remedies. I only tried some, and I was lucky that they worked for me. But in 4 months, I kicked it completely.
If these do work, and I'm not doubting what you're telling me, but if these do work, why aren't they being used widely by the medical profession?
It's a case of follow the money. If you look where the money is, it's with the big pharma companies, and they can't patent natural remedies. They try and create synthetic versions of natural things out there. I mean, take aspirin, for example, which is natural. Its derivative is natural, but it's synthesized for medical use. And all drugs have side effects. So why would you have a drug when you can take something that's natural with no side effects?
Are you really telling me, though, that the NHS would not look at this and investigate this if they thought it would make a difference and also would save them money? I mean, they must spend millions and millions of pounds on cancer treatments. They
do, and a lot of it is a complete waste of time.
So what, they should be taking up the natural remedies that you used?
Yes, but I have an integrative approach. So the best of the national health, and then alongside that, the best of natural. And I did very reluctantly, accept 6 sessions of chemo last year, and I agreed that against my better judgment at the time, because the success rate for Hodgkin's lymphoma with chemo is 81%, compared to other cancers, chemo success rate is only about 3%. So in my case, it was a good bet to make, if you like, to have chemo, even though it's not something that I would, my previous 2 cancers, I didn't touch it.
Yeah. The thing is, Elaine, there will be people listening, and they may think that as well intentioned as you may be, they might be pretty sceptical about what you're saying. What would you say to them?
I agree, and I've had to learn to zip my mouth up, because I'm quite an outspoken person, but I can only speak from my own personal experience. I've cured myself, very grateful, very happy to share my story with anybody, which I do. But alongside that, as I say, the National Health are fantastic in a crisis. I wouldn't have known that I had cancer had I not had the National Health diagnosis, because I've never been ill. I've never had so much as a cough, a cold, sore throat, nothing. I was told I would get depressed, that this would happen, that would happen, but I've not had any, very little side effect whatsoever, because remaining positive is a huge aspect of this as well. When we have a diagnosis, we're scared into doing whatever is the doctors deem necessary, and so many.
Well, you would, though, wouldn't you? If a doctor tells you that this is the best thing, that we trust doctors, you can understand why people do that, though, can't you?
Absolutely, I do. Yes, and I'm not saying my way is the right way at all. I'm just, all I can do is share what I believe in and what I did. So I get regular checks with my consultant. You mentioned about saving money for the National Health Service. I've recently moved. I'm part Malmesbury, part Nottingham these days, and I have 2 consultants that look after me, one at John Radcliffe at Oxford and one at Swindon for different previous conditions. And rather than travel all the way down, spend time in places where you're going to get germs because everybody's poorly there, I have telephone consultations. Little things like that can save the National Health Service a fortune. Why travel miles when you can have the same conversation, providing there's no examination required, of course. Obviously, you have to be practical about it.
I'm just interested what your consultant or consultants say about what you've done.
No problem whatsoever. I was open from day one. I gave a list of all the things that I was doing and things that I was taking, and absolutely no problem. They're fully aware.
Did they approve?
Whether they do or not, they didn't stop me.
But did they say to you, we don't think this is a good idea?
No, they didn't, no.
They didn't say that?
No, basically the message was, do what I think is right for me.
Even though they probably suggested to you, I think you should have chemotherapy, radiotherapy, whatever it might have been.
Yes, and I've been frowned upon by lots of medics, but at the end of the day, it's my body. I'm in control of it, and I do what I think is right intuitively for me.
You've written this blog, and as you mentioned, you were given a year to live, and now you're clear of cancer. There must be other people who have expressed an interest in what you've had to say in your blog.
Yes,
many people.
Yes, quite. As I say, I get 3 or 4 phone calls, emails a week from people. I was on the phone last night to a gentleman who's got 2 sorts of cancers, and people need to be open to various different remedies. But at the end of the day, very often people turn to alternative and complementary. It's too little, too late, and then they say, well, that's rubbish, it didn't work. Well, like everything, as soon as you get a diagnosis, for example, huge things you can do is with your diet and lifestyle. Not smoking, drinking too much, eating as healthily as possible, organic, not having toxins in or around you, not having negative situations, reducing stress. There's a whole ton of simple things that don't cost anything at all that people can apply straight away.
Elaine, fascinating to talk to you. We wish you well for the future, and thank you for giving us a very different perspective on cancer.
Thank you. You're most welcome.
Thank you.